Hi everyone, this is Melissa with Imagine today, and I'm going to be showing you a quick card using a cute Joy Clair stamp and some VersaColor ink in cyan, and this is a water-based pigment ink, just so you know. I'm also going to be using this Joy Clair stamp set called Feeling Slothy, and it's a stamp set of cute little sloths with some adorable fonts and cute little sayings that go with the sloths. I'll also be using my Memento Tuxedo Black ink, 2 firework sprays in desert sand and rich cocoa, as well as a large sponge dauber. I'll be using masking paper. This is some from Inkadinkado. And I'm going to be using a sheet of just regular white cardstock. I'm going to start by inking up one of the sloths with Memento Tuxedo Black ink and putting that in my MISTI, so if I have to stamp it twice, I can. I get an adorable impression, so I think I'm pretty good with that. And I'm going to go ahead and stamp the sloth again, but this time on top of my masking paper. And I'm just using my Memento Tuxedo Black ink again. The reason I chose Tuxedo Black Memento ink was because I color the sloth in Copics. So I want to make sure that my Copics are safe, and Memento ink is very safe with the Copic ink. I'm also going to be cutting out the little sloth from my masking paper because I will be masking the image that I color with Copics, and so that I can use my firework sprays in that cyan VersaColor ink. So you can see here I'm adding the mask to the little sloth. It's kind of hard sometimes to line up these masks with your image, but typically I cut down the masking paper just a little bit so that there's just a tiny black edge so that it's a little bit easier to mask off my image. And I want to make sure that's all covered because I am going to be putting sprays over top of this as well. And with sprays you have to be very careful that your image is covered so that nothing leaks under the masking paper. So first I'm taking the cyan blue and working on my craft mat, as you see, and I'm just sponging on some of that really light blue color to make it look like there's a little bit of a sky here. And there is a section right between the sloth's legs that you can see is masked that's not going to get ink, but I'm going to show you in a little bit how to fix that small spot. It's too hard to cut it out with a pair of scissors, so instead of doing so, there are some tools that are nice for fixing little spots like that I have. So I sponged that on, and now I'm taking this La La Land Crafts stencil and using my rich cocoa and spraying it down, and then spraying down some desert sand. This is the firework spray. There's a lot of sparkle in it, so you do need to shake up the bottle before you use it. And I'm just adding some very light spray and then lifting the stencil all at the same time as my paper towel, and you can see I get a beautiful impression. Sometimes sprays will leak under the stencil, so if you simply add really light sprays, you won't get that happening. So you can see I removed the mask and my image was protected, and now I'm going to show you how I kind of fill in that blank spot. I'm taking some white tape and just putting it over the top. This tape is Post-it tape, and the Post-it tape doesn't stick to your paper. It's a very light adhesive so that you can do things like I'm showing you, and just masking off the area with the sloth, picking up some of that blue ink and then putting it down right over the stencil, and then also taking the desert sand spray and just spraying that and the rich cocoa right over that spot that I have there. And I'm going to lift up the stencil, and you can see I get the stencil pattern in the background, but I do have some quite white paper there that I don't want. So I'm going to take a brush sticks. This is a tool that I was telling you about that you can use. First I tried the sponge dauber, but I noticed there's some spots that I don't get into because the tape kind of covers that area. So I'm taking this little brush sticks and just filling in those spaces. It's a very fine point tip, and I can pick up that ink and then just fix that little spot there. So now I'm going to take a round die cut and simply die cut this image out, but you're going to see that I'm going to lose a portion of my coffee cup from the sloth, but that's okay because I am going to show you how to add that back into your card. It's a very simple technique. So I am going to tape this down and run it through my die cut machine. And now I'm going to move on to the background of the card where I'm going to place that sloth in his little circle. Again, I'm taking the rich cocoa, removing the spray nozzle from the bottle and just flicking the bottom end so that I can get these nice splotchy look. And then I'm also adding some rich cocoa to my craft mat and using something that's a round circle. You can use anything, a little cup, a little jar, whatever you have, and simply making coffee rings using this little thing that I have in my craft area. So you guys can do that. It's very simple and it makes a perfect coffee ring with that rich cocoa fireworks spray. So now I've lined up my sloth circle in my MISTI, and now I've re-stamped that coffee cup. You know, I showed you that I cut off a portion of it, and so I just lined up my circle where I want it and then put the stamp over top and of that little circle with the sloth, removed the circle and stamped it down to that piece of paper in the background. You can also see that I used a die cut to cut out the background so that it has that pretty edge. And now I'm taking a sentiment from the sloth set and inking it up in VersaColor Clair Nocturne so that I have a beautiful stamped impression. And I've added that background to some green cardstock, and now I'm lining up my sloth with the coffee cup. That's today's completed tutorial. I hope you join us again at Imagine for more fabulous projects and tutorials. And you also head over to the blog and the shop to pick up your products today. All of the links will be in the description box below.